In 1909, passengers stepped onto a train that looked like it should not exist. It had no second rail, no overhead cable holding it up, no wide base to keep it steady, just one narrow line of steel beneath it. The vehicle was roughly 40 feet long and weighed around 22 tons empty. Then the engines came alive. The carriage did not fall. It moved. People stayed upright. The body leaned into curves. Hidden inside, two heavy wheels spun fast, fighting the fall before it began. This was the Brennan Euro monorail, a train that balanced on one rail. For a brief moment, it looked like the future. Then it vanished. At the start of the 20th century, railways ruled distance. They fed cities and moved armies. But railways were expensive. They needed two rails, track beds, bridges, tunnels, and foundations. In rough country, that cost could be enormous. So engineers asked a dangerous question. What if a railway needed only one rail? A single rail promised less material. It could seem lighter, cheaper, and more flexible. But the problem was brutal. A train on one rail wants to fall over. A normal train is stable because its wheels sit on two rails. Put the same weight above one line, and a curve, a shifting passenger, or a gust could start a tilt. The single rail dream needed active balance. That is where Louis Brennan entered the story. Brennan was already a respected inventor. In the early 1900s, he began developing a monorail held upright by controlled gyroscopes. By 1907, he had shown a working model. By 1909, at Gillingham in Kent, he had built a full-sized machine. It was a real vehicle, carrying real people, on one rail. The secret was not simply put a gyroscope inside. A spinning top can stay upright, but a train full of passengers is not a toy. Brennan's system used two heavy gyrostats spinning in opposite directions. That helped reduce unwanted twisting forces, especially in turns. The deeper trick was control. A gyroscope resists changes to its direction. Tilt it, and it reacts sideways. This is precession. Brennan used that strange behavior on purpose. When the carriage began to lean, the mechanism forced the gyros to precess. That produced a twisting force, pushing the vehicle back upright. So the monorail was not passively stable. It was constantly correcting itself. Reports describe mechanical and pneumatic control. As the body tilted, the mechanism moved the frames. It was like a bicycle, but made of steel. A cyclist stays up by correcting all the time. Brennan's monorail did something similar with motors, compressed air, and spinning flywheels. That allowed it to stand, move forward, and lean inward through curves. But a machine is not judged only by one demonstration. It must survive ordinary days. Brennan's invention attracted government and military interest. One rail sounded useful in difficult terrain. In November 1909, another name entered the story, August Scherl. Scherl was a powerful Berlin publisher and promoter. He backed a smaller German gyroscopic monorail, making the idea feel like an international race. A British inventor. A German rival, a train balanced by spinning wheels. For newspapers, it was irresistible. Scherl's patent described safety supports that could drop down if stabilization failed. That detail points to the central fear. Could anyone trust a railway that depended on active balance? If a normal train loses power, it can stop on its rails. If a Euro monorail loses control, the question is harder. The flywheels might keep spinning for a while. Eventually, the vehicle needs another way to stay upright. That meant emergency supports, maintenance, and public confidence. The machine had to be brilliant every day. Still, the demonstrations were astonishing. Brennan's full-sized vehicle carried groups of passengers on hastily laid track at Gillingham. Reports describe observers trying to disturb its balance. The machine remained steady. It handled curves. It crossed rough sections. It showed the central plane was possible. A heavy vehicle could balance on one rail using controlled gyroscopes. That is what makes the Brennan monorail remarkable. It was a full-scale machine with passengers on board. In 1910, it appeared at the Japan-British exhibition in London. Imagine standing there. The rail is narrow. The carriage is heavy. Your brain expects disaster. But the machine rolls forward calmly, as if gravity has been negotiated with. The breakthrough was not that Brennan defeated gravity. It was that he controlled instability. That idea feels modern. Rockets, drones, and balancing robots work because control systems correct faster than failure can grow. Brennan attempted that before modern electronics, with petrol engines, dynamos, servos, and mechanical linkages. His train had to think with hardware. So why did it not take over the world? There was probably no single reason. The system was complex. Every vehicle needed heavy gyros, power, control gear, and a safety plan. Brennan moved stability into every train. That made each vehicle demanding. It also made trust difficult. Railways are conservative for a reason. Operators need predictable maintenance, clear failure modes, and economics that beat the alternatives. Conventional rail was already mature and familiar. The Euro monorail promised less track, but it demanded more machine. And in transport, that trade can be fatal. Brennan's system stayed a prototype. Scherl's version did not become mainstream either. Later inventors explored gyroscopic vehicles, but the Euro train never became the future its promoters imagined. For decades, it survived mostly as a strange photograph. Men in hats, a platform on one rail, a machine that should have fallen over, but did not. And yet, the idea never fully died. More than a century later, engineers in Germany revisited the dream with modern tools. Projects such as MONOCAB in North Rhine-Westphalia have explored small autonomous cabins on single railway tracks, using active stabilization in a way Brennan would recognize. The new version belongs to sensors, software, electric drives, and compact control systems. But the question is the same. Can a vehicle balance where a normal train cannot? That is the real legacy of Brennan's monorail. It was not simply a failed railway. It was an early glimpse of active stabilization before the world around it was ready. The train disappeared because it asked too much of its time. But it proved something extraordinary. A machine does not always need to be naturally stable. Sometimes, if it reacts fast enough, it can survive by saving itself from falling. A train, balanced on one rail. Not impossible. Just early.